Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me today. This is Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we're going to be making this single flip flap card, calling it a flip flap. It does only have one flap that pulls open and reveals an inside message. This card lays flat for shipping. It measures 5 by 7. It requires no die cuts. We're just going to cut everything with our trimmer. And then I just added a couple embellishments. So let's go ahead and get started. So we'll need our scoreboard. And for our pieces, we're going to start with the base piece of the card. Now you do need 3 layers of this, and these are all going to be the same color. So we're using a blue cardstock, and we're measuring this at 5 by 7. Again, centimeters will be up in the left-hand corner. Then we will need one piece at 5 by 7. That's a designer series paper. And then you will need 2 more pieces. And the first piece we're going to do, this one is going to be 4 1/4 by 7, and then you need 4 1/8 by 6 7/8. And that will lay on top of there. We're actually going to cut that piece down because I'll show you that in a little bit. All right, now we're going to do some scoring. So on that smaller piece, we're going to score this at 3/4 inch. And we're going to go down on one side. We're going to turn it, score it again at 3/4 inch, and then turn it all the way and score it again at 3/4 inch. So you should have your 3 marks. Then we're going to score this at 1 3/4, just to that top score line and the bottom score line. So you're just going to go up from the top and then down, but just to that score line that you made on each side. So you should end up with this. And then we're going to move that out of the way. So we're done with our scoreboard. We are going to glue these pieces together. Now we're going to use 2 of the bigger pieces, and we're just going to glue these. But the easiest way to make sure this is lined up is to pick up your paper, your extra piece, just hold it, make sure the bottom is even and the sides, and you can kind of push it together and make sure that it's perfectly lined up when you glue it. Then we're going to take that bigger pattern piece and we're going to lay that right on top. And this is the same one that is 5 by 7. So you want this layered because this is going to be the piece that's going to pull on the top. So you want it to be thick. And then I'm just putting a very thin layer of the designer paper on top. So I'm just laying that up, making sure it's lined up. And then we're going to let this sit and dry just for a few minutes because we want to make sure that dries good. So we're going to take this piece that we scored and we're going to put on our trimmer. And now if you can see this, what we're going to do is we're going to cut from those 2 score marks. We're going to cut this and we're going to go between those 2 lines. So we're going to put this at 3/4 inch. And I'm going to turn so you can see it. And then I'm going to start at 3 inches and then go down, 3/4 inch and go down to 3/4 inch. Then we're going to take our scissors. Now you can cut that out, but I'd like to use a trimmer so you get a straight line. We're going to cut on the other side of that score mark just a little bit and cut that piece away. Then we're going to turn it. So this is what you should have. We're going to turn it the opposite side and we're going to cut just on the far side. So the inside of that score mark that we made. And we're just going to cut up to that first fold. Then you're going to fold these down and you want to make sure that they're straight. And then just go ahead and crease that out. As you can see, mine's not folding right on this one. And that's because I didn't cut it all the way up to that score mark. So I'm just going to grab my scissors. I'm just going to make sure that goes all the way up to that score mark. And then make sure I line this up when I fold it down. So this is the piece that you should have. This is for your flip flap. Then you want to just push these in. You can turn those either way. They will go back and forth. So you can go ahead and just fold them either way right now. So this is the piece I was talking about. I made this too big. So I'm going to cut this down. And I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4 by 3 3/8 because I don't want it to be all the way on it. I'm just going to do the centerpiece. Just so there's not too much weight on the card. So this is going to sit just like this right on here. While we have our trimmer out, we're going to go ahead and cut. We're going to do 3/4 of an inch all the way around. So line it up on your 3/4 inch mark, start at 3/4 inch from the bottom, and then go all the way down to 3/4 of an inch, turn it, place it on 3/4 of an inch, and you're going to do that on all three sides. So again, 3/4 down to 3/4. And we're cutting out the window on the front of the card. And just like that. So then you should be able just to pop out that extra piece that you cut. And we're going to use that piece in a few minutes, the cardstock, so don't throw that away. We are going to use it. All right, so we're going to move our trimmer. Now we're going to work on the mechanism of the card. So first we're going to glue that patterned paper down, and you can do it on both sides. I've only done it on the one. I'm just going to lay this on the center section. It's going to have just a very faint border all the way around. So I'm going to flip over the frame, and we're going to lay this down. And you want to make sure that your sides are lined up. It's going to be right in the edge. That little hole that we cut, this piece is going to fit inside there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue those two longer flaps down. So the two that I have folded, these are the two that we're going to glue down. So I'm going to grab my glue. I'm going to put glue on both of them. Again, working upside down. We're just going to turn this upside down, lay it down again, and you can lay these out if you don't want to get glue everywhere. Just lay it down to where you know it's lined up, and then fold those flaps in on both sides, and then just secure it down. I'm just making sure that it's got clearance all the way and that it's lined up. So just like that. And then it should just move freely. Then we're going to take our last large piece and we're going to glue this down to the card. So we're just going to lay it flat upside down again. We're going to put glue on those last two tabs. And then we're going to take that bigger piece and we're just going to line this up with the edge of the card and secure that down. So those two little tabs are the only thing that's holding the back of the card to the front of the card. And you want to give that just a second to dry. And then go ahead and just test it and make sure that it is moving correctly. I'm just squeezing out just one more time, just to make sure glue is pretty good. Just like that. So that is the mechanism part of the card. Now for the decorations, I've got my sentiment, I've got my Santa, and Santa has a bunch of letters. So I just made just little squares or rectangles and then just made some phony print on them, tried to write as small as I could. So Santa's going to be holding one of them in his hand because I think that looks really cute. So I'm going to glue it to his thumb, and I did put a cut in his hand just to hold the card. So I'm just going to put this right inside his hand, just like that. And then Santa's going to be put on the front of the card. So I grabbed a piece of tape because I just want to just tape him down just so I can make sure I've got everything lined up where I want it. So I'll have Santa sitting there. And then on the inside of the card, so that's how it's going to stand, we're going to put the sentiment, which is believe in the magic of Christmas. It's going to go there. And then this extra piece that we had cut, I'm going to take off the snowflake paper. So I got just a little bit of glue on it. And we're going to secure it to this side of the card, just to give the card just a little bit of color on the inside. So it'll be hidden from the card so you won't see it. So that will get glued there. So that looks about even right about there. And then I'm going to just open the card all the way so it's open flat. And then we're going to glue this piece onto this back side. You could have put another color on that other side, but I just left that piece just the plain blue. And that right there, I'm going to put a little bit of extra glue there because I can see that's where it was glued to the other sheet and it kind of buckled. So I'm just going to secure it with just a little bit more glue just to help hold it. And I'll use my bone folder just to push out that glue. Oops, now I got too much. Okay. So that's for the inside of the card so far. Now for Santa, I'm going to take this off and I'm going to glue him down. Now you could use some foam and give him some dimension. I'm just going to glue him down. And I'm not going to put him in the center. I'm going to put him just a little bit higher because I'm going to take the letters to Santa and they're going to be on the bottom near his feet like he dropped a bunch of letters. So I have all these other letters and I'm just going to put these just around just to make it look like they're all over the place. Okay, that's enough for that. Right. Then the last thing I have is I have some snowflakes. Now these are plastic, so they're harder to stick. So I tried using these dots and these are not working. They just don't work. They're very old, but they don't work. So I stopped the camera and I'm going to put some red tape on these just to make it a little bit easier. I'm using the double-sided red tape. So as you can see, I've got red tape on all of them. So I'm just going to pull the tape off and then put these around the card. And again, these are a plastic, so they are pretty shiny and they kind of stick out. So we'll put one right up here. And then we'll put one down at the bottom here. Let's see how that looks. That looks good. Maybe we'll put just a couple more on the inside. It's kind of hard to see because it's almost the same pattern. It kind of matches the paper, but put one up on top. And then I'm going to put one just on the edge of the inside of the card. So it'll stick out, but it won't get in the way. And then we'll do one last one. Because I have 4 on the front and I don't like that. So we're going to do 5 just to make it an odd number. So that is it. That is the card that we made today. This was a quick one flip flap card. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And until next time, happy crafting, and I hope to see you real soon. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook. Thanks. Bye-bye.